Russia's nuclear doctrine has taken a chilling turn. President Vladimir Putin has lowered the threshold for a nuclear strike, now allowing a response to conventional attacks on Russia or its allies, including Belarus. This shift comes after Ukraine reportedly used U.S.-made ATACMS missiles to strike deep inside Russian territory, a move the Kremlin calls a new phase of Western involvement in the war. This development has global implications, with experts comparing it to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Let's unpack the details of this doctrine, how it's reshaping the conflict, and what it means for the future of global security. The new doctrine explained. Russia's updated nuclear policy marks a dramatic shift. Previously, nuclear weapons were reserved for extreme scenarios, like responding to other nuclear attacks or conventional threats that endangered Russia's very existence. Now, the rules have changed. Under the new doctrine, a conventional attack that threatens the sovereignty or territorial integrity of Russia or its allies can trigger a nuclear response. This expansion also includes attacks by non-nuclear powers if they're supported by nuclear-armed states, a direct signal to NATO. Essentially, Moscow is warning that any Western-backed aggression against Russia could escalate into a nuclear confrontation. This doctrine is not just about deterring attacks, it's about redefining the boundaries of global conflict. Ukraine's missile strikes and U.S. involvement. This policy shift comes as tensions with the West reach new heights. Ukraine's recent missile strike in Russia's Bryansk region, reportedly using U.S.-made ATACMS, is a flashpoint. Moscow claims this attack could not have been carried out without U.S. support, calling it a direct provocation. Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, described the incident as a qualitatively new phase of the Western war against Russia. He warned that U.S. involvement, even indirectly, makes the conflict increasingly dangerous. The Biden administration's decision to allow Ukraine to use long-range missiles has added fuel to the fire. While the U.S. insists these weapons are for defensive purposes, Russia sees them as a direct challenge, bringing NATO closer to the battlefield. Echoes of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The parallels to the Cuban Missile Crisis are hard to ignore. Russian diplomats have drawn direct comparisons, warning that the West is underestimating Moscow's willingness to act. During the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, the world came closest to nuclear war as the U.S. and Soviet Union faced off over missile deployments. Today, Russia is signaling that it views the Ukraine conflict with the same level of gravity. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov has warned that the situation is unexplored military and political territory. This rhetoric underscores the unpredictable nature of the current crisis and the growing risk of miscalculation. Economic and global fallout. The ripple effects of this nuclear doctrine are already being felt. Global markets have reacted with alarm. Bonds and the Japanese yen have surged as investors seek safe haven assets, while stocks and the euro have dropped. Meanwhile, the Russian ruble has fallen past 100 per dollar for the first time in over a year. This economic turmoil reflects the growing uncertainty surrounding the conflict. For Western nations, the challenge is twofold: managing the immediate threat of escalation and addressing the broader economic instability caused by the war's dangerous phase. As the war in Ukraine reaches its 1,000th day, it's entering what analysts call its most dangerous phase yet. Russian forces are advancing at their fastest pace since the early days of the conflict, while Ukraine faces increasing pressure to sustain its defenses with Western support. Putin's new doctrine adds another layer of complexity. By lowering the nuclear threshold, Russia is signaling its readiness to escalate if it feels threatened. This raises the stakes for all parties involved, especially NATO members who continue to provide arms and aid to Ukraine. Broader implications for global security. This doctrine is more than just a policy shift, it's a warning. By broadening the scenarios under which nuclear weapons might be used, Russia is challenging the international community to rethink its approach to deterrence and escalation. For the U.S. and its allies, the stakes have never been higher. Supporting Ukraine while avoiding direct confrontation with Russia requires a delicate balance. Any misstep could lead to unintended consequences, potentially drawing NATO into a larger conflict. Meanwhile, Putin's rhetoric is designed to test the resolve of Western nations. By framing any attack as a joint NATO action, Russia is attempting to deter further involvement while asserting its dominance on the global stage. Putin's updated nuclear doctrine is a stark reminder of the growing volatility in today's geopolitical landscape. By lowering the threshold for a nuclear strike, Russia has sent a clear signal. It is willing to escalate, even in response to conventional threats. As the conflict in Ukraine continues, the decisions made in the coming weeks will shape not just the war's outcome, but the future of global security. The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Thank you for watching Conflict Chronicles. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on critical global developments. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.